Alright, Shalom. I'm the brother Tassiyat coming back with another video. But before I start off, I want to give all praises and the highest honor to the Most High Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakodash. I want to give double honor to my elder apostles, the teachers of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the sincere Akiam across this world who are spreading this knowledge in truth and sincerity. And shalom to the few sincere brothers and sisters out there who are also listening. And may the election be upon your households. God shalom. So today I want to make a video concerning James chapter 2 verse 3. Okay, Salakia, sorry for the background noise. That's Salakia means sorry basically, or forgive me, in the Hebrew language. So anyway, James chapter 2, let me start at verse 1 because verse 3 actually speaks about that when people so-called look rich, that you are not supposed to give them, so-called a better treatment than people that look so-called poor or might not have the most flashy clothing and whatnot. But we're gonna dive in some words, like in the word gay, because it says in verse 3, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing. So nowadays the word gay is associated with homosexual, But what it actually was meaning back in the days is luxurious clothing, okay, splendid. But before we go there, let's first start in verse 1. It says, my brethren, have not the faith of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, the Lord of glory, with respect of persons. For if there come unto your assembly a man with a gold ring, in goodly apparel, and there come in also a poor man in vile raiment, so you have two people, somebody coming with goodly apparel, with so-called a golden ring, nice clothing, looking expensive, and you have somebody else that comes in vile raiment, like a bit dirty clothing. He doesn't really look that well, Clothing, you see, the word raiment goes into clothing, and vile, to be dirty, grow filthy. So you have two people, one with so-called nice, beautiful clothing, one with dirty clothing. Verse 3, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing. So you have respect to that person that wears the gay clothing, which means the so-called beautiful, splendid clothing. Okay, it's not like nowadays when people say the word gay is homosexual. That only came into the late 1940s, that explanation of the word gay, But in the 14th century, okay, it was not so, man. So let's look here at the word gay in the Greek. It says lampros, lampros. And the outline of biblical usage, it says shining, brilliant, clear, transparent, splendid, magnificent, splendid things, luxuries or elegancies in dress or style. So luxury clothing, you see? Now, I would not suggest, of course, to use that word in your daily language, because nowadays it's going to be associated with something else. But just for y'all to know out there what the real meaning actually was. Also, let's go to the etymology. Okay, because etymology is the study of the root meaning of words. Let me see, etym online. Here, etym online. The word gay, it says late 14th century, full of joy, merry, light-hearted, carefree, also wanton, lewd, lascivious. Late 12th century as a surname, Philippus the Gay, from Old French gay, joyful, happy. So the word gay also goes into happy. But in the Blue Letter Bible, in the first James chapter 2 verse 3, it speaks about luxurious clothing. Okay, now if you scroll a bit down, it says here, the meaning stately and beautiful, splendid and showily dressed, you see, is from early 40th centuries. Of things sumptuous, showy, rich, ornate, mid 40th centuries, of colors, etc., shining, glittering, gleaming, bright, vivid. So somebody, basically dress to impress. Late 14th century of persons dressed up, decked out in finery. So the finest jewelry, the finest clothing, the finest brands, you name it, man. That is what people be wearing. If people be wearing that, you should not have respect for a person just because he wears so-called gay clothing, which is so-called splendid clothing. Okay? And then you're gonna look down on a person that doesn't wear this type of clothing. Makes no sense. Okay? Now, when we jump down, it says here the slang meaning homosexual, okay, adjective, begins to appear in psychological writing in the late 1940s. You see, evidently picked up from gay slang and not always easily distinguished from the older sense. So, you see what these devils be doing? They be changing the meaning of words, late 1940s. But when we go back to the 1400s, and when we read it in the Blue Letter Bible, the word gay doesn't mean that, man. Okay, it goes into basically luxurious clothing and style. So now that you understand this, let's read that verse again. James 2 and 3. And ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, Sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor, Stand thou there, or sit here under my footstool. So just because somebody has so-called beautiful clothing, like when you go to a restaurant, like one of the Akiam explained during the study, when you go to a restaurant, you always have people that, that come in with a place reserved, and then the waiter is acting like, yeah, sorry, the table is already taken, this and that, and then all of a sudden some rich, so-called rich guy, rich looking guy comes in, and the waiter, his whole aura, his whole mannerism changes. He's all happy. Hey, good to see you, sir. Good to see you, sir. Yeah, of course. I have a table here right for you, because this man has a so-called suit on and a Rolex, which might not even be his, might borrow it from his friend and whatnot. But just because he looks rich, he gets this type of treatment. We should not be like this, okay? We should not be like this, treating somebody better because of their outward appearance. Okay? To the poor, you're gonna say, yeah, sorry, man, I have a seat here. You can sit on the floor, man, on that dusty ass corner, That's not how it's supposed to be, man. All right? So, also, let me see. Also, when we go to the word footstool in James chapter 2 verse 3, read it again. And ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, Sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor, Stand thou there, or sit here under my footstool. A footstool is something that you rest your foot on. Basically, you're stepping on somebody, which is disrespectful, man. And that is also what they used to do to us in slavery. Okay, you see this white man sitting with his feet on this Israelite child? That is literally what they did to us in slavery. Okay? And also, symbolically, they put us under subjection, okay, by ruling over us. So the word footstool, it says here in the Greek, hypopodion, and in the outline of biblical usage, it says a footstool. To make one a footstool of one's feet. Okay, a footstool is literally something that you rest your foot upon. Okay? As you saw in the video, as you saw in the photo. You see? To rest your foot upon. To subject, Salakia. To subject. Okay, because you are not stepping on somebody. To reduce to reduce under one's power. So the so-called white race, Edomites, Esau, they reduced us, the Israelites, under their power. Also in slavery, of course. Till this day, basically, they're ruling over us. And literally, they were stepping on us in slavery like this, man. Okay, it's crazy, man. This is from a movie, if I'm correct. So these devils gotta pay for a lot of things, man. people that say that the white man can be forgiven, it's not gonna happen, man. The Most High hates Esau. Okay? The Most High hates Esau, man. So do you really think that he's gonna let them devils get away with touching his favorite ones, the Israelites? Of course not, man. We just gotta wait patiently for this whole movie, so to say, of the Most High to play out, man. Okay? Romans 9 and 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. The Most High says he hates Esau. So we're just waiting. Okay, so going back here to the outline of biblical usage. At B it says metaphorically, taken from the practice of conquerors who place their feet on the necks of their conquered enemies. So the conquerors, the one that conquered, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, they're placing their foot on the necks of the ones that are conquered, the Israelites. Okay, because yes, we are enemies of each other. So this is gonna be turned around very soon, man. Okay, like the book of Psalms stated. Okay, Yahushua is gonna make these enemies his footstool. Okay, the role's gonna be turned around. Psalm 110 verse 1, a psalm of David. The Lord said unto my Lord. Now this is also a thing that a lot of people don't understand. Okay, the Lord in caps is the Most High Yahweh. When it says said unto my Lord, that is speaking about King Solomon. But who was King Solomon? That was Yahushua himself. So King David already knew, already called, King David called Solomon his Lord. That is what it says here. Okay. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. So Yahushua is sitting at the right hand of the Most High Yahweh, and his enemies, okay, which our main enemies, Esau, Edom, the so-called white men, and also the other heathen nations, the Moabites, which are the Chinese, the Ishmaelites, which are the Arabian people, you know, all these other nations are also our enemies and the enemies of Yahushua, the enemies of Yahushua, so also therefore our enemies, and they will become his footstool. So they will be brought under subjection under Yahushua. Okay? That is what's waiting, man. The roles will be reversed. Alright? So, let me see here. I believe also in the book of Matthew chapter 22. Yeah, it says here, Matthew chapter 22, verse 44. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou on my right hand, till I make thine enemies thy footstool. Alright? If David then call him Lord, how is he his son? Yes, because King David called Solomon his son. Okay, King Solomon was the son of King David. He called Solomon his Lord. Okay, but we know that Solomon was Yahushua. So this is ultimately prophecy for Yahushua. So God willing, of course, I explain it in a good sense to y'all, so y'all can understand it. So now, to end it, James 2 and 3. And ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, okay, so-called beautiful clothing. And say unto him, sit thou here in a good place. And say to the poor, stand thou there, or sit here under my footstool. So I hope this is edifying. Now you know the real meaning of the word gay, the word footstool. So with that, I want to give all praises and highest honor to the Most High Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Kodash. I want to give double honor to my elder apostles and teachers of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the sincere Akim across this world, who are spreading this knowledge and truth and sincerity. And shalom to the few sincere brothers and sisters out there who are also listening, and may the election be upon your households. God shalom.